Hi folks, Merv Neal from Holistic Services Group. I am one of their workshop facilitators at HSG, have been for more than a decade now. I got into this holistic health side of things back in 2002 when I experienced personal illness due to workplace stress. And when I came out the other side, it took about 7 or 8 months before I was totally cured. I determined that I was going to find out more about this thing called health. Why do we even get sick? What are the things that we need to do to get better? And more importantly, how to maintain a personal well-being and healthy state so that we don't actually get sick in the first place. So that was some of the things that I started to explore. I became, in the conventional medicine system, a therapist. So I work in hospitals and clinics as a therapist, helping people to deal with their illness, whatever that may be. Maybe it's usually a mental illness, depression or anxiety. I also work as a holistic health practitioner, and this is in the Eastern philosophy, the traditional medicine system, as a health practitioner there. I've also experienced 50 years of owning and operating my own businesses successfully. So what I enjoy doing is looking at the personal health and well-being of an individual at a holistic level, the business holistic health and the business side of things, and pull it all together so we can work towards healthier people and a healthier business. That's what I do. Today, I'm going to introduce you to one of the workshops that we do, which is an absolute killer. It's a ripper workshop, and it's the 7 areas of our personal holistic health. Now, many years ago now, Michael, the founder of Holistic Services Group and the CEO, and I sat down and said, what does this word even mean? What does holistic mean? It's overused nowadays. It's a buzzword. Everything's holistic at the moment. But way back then, it was really a very unknown thing and very rarely used. But we are called holistic services, so that means we do a whole range of services, but how does this relate to the individual at a personal level? And certainly when it comes to traditional medicine, Eastern, Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine and wisdom, there's a thing called holistic health. And it focuses on the 7 energy centers of our body, and these energy centers are sometimes called chakras. And these chakras, there's 7 of them. There's one here, there's another one there, there's a third one there, there's a 4th one there, and there's 3 more going down through the body. And the whole philosophy is to align them, open them, and have them working freely and in synchronicity with each other, knowing that if one gets out of balance, the others may follow. But the challenge is understanding them and then knowing if one of them gets out of balance, which one actually goes out of balance. So that was our philosophy that we developed about personal holistic health. And from that, we worked on business holistic health. And there's a YouTube video of that business holistic health. I've already done one of those on the HSG YouTube channel. So you might like to have a look because it links back to this. But today we're focusing on the individual. Going back to workplaces, we used to focus on the physical health of the person. We would give them a gym membership and a fruit basket and say, healthy people. And that's true from a physical point of view. And it is important to be physically healthy because our physical health relies on exercise and nutrition. All right, so as long as you move your body enough, that's called exercise, and the nutrition is the fuel that we actually put into our body. And once again, we have some wonderful nutritional workshops that we can provide you as well. And provided you do this, we maintain good health. If we don't, there's a risk, and the 2 major risks are diabetes and obesity. Now, these are even bigger risks if you are used to going to work and now you're working from home, because working from home like this, you may adopt a more sedentary lifestyle in that you're not compelled to get up and actually move around as much as maybe you were when you're at work. The other thing about exercise is we have this herd mentality that we like to exercise with other people. So we may join a sporting club or go to a gym where other people are exercising. So the challenge to actually get out of your chair and exercise when you're by yourself is a higher risk and less likely to happen. The other thing that's the other side of your wall is a thing called a refrigerator and a pantry, and it's full of all sorts of food. Some of them fantastic, some maybe not so fantastic. So the The challenge there is to not graze during the day. So there's just some things about working from home from an exercise and nutrition point of view to be aware of to make sure that you maintain good physical health. The next one, and this is just an overview, this is not the whole program, this is just giving you an idea of what is involved in the program, is this thing called mental health. Now, when we talk about mental health, we're often talking about mental illness, and the two major illnesses that we talk about generally is depression and anxiety. So as a therapist, I used to, with people, work mainly on depression. That was the big one, and Beyond Blue and Lifeline, they work with people who are experiencing severe depression. More recently, and especially in the last couple of months with the virus situation, it's turned into anxiety because people are anxious. They don't know what's going to happen next and when the world's going to maintain some sort of normality, and the short and long-term impacts of the economic crisis that we're going to be dealing with, and with their own work and their position in the business. Lots and lots of anxiety out there. So they're the two that we generally talk about. But when we talk about mental health, we're actually talking about the positive to negative thoughts ratio. So how many positive thoughts to negative thoughts are we having? And certainly people with mental illness generally have a negative mindset and get stuck in that negative mindset. So we have mental illness, depression, anxiety, mental health about having a positive can-do attitude. The new kid on the block is a thing called emotional health. So we've been very focused on physical, mental, physical, mental, physical, mental. And in our conventional medicine system where I work as a therapist, they're the two things we work on, physical and mental. It doesn't actually go beyond those limits. It's starting to, and business is starting to, in their workplace wellbeing programs, go beyond these limits now. And the next area that we've gone into is emotional health. So this is not how we're thinking, this is how we are feeling. And we feel in our body. The two areas that we feel in our body with is our gut and our heart. So you'll often have that experience where you go, oh, I've got a funny feeling in my gut. Or is that really from a heart space what I should be thinking? Now, there's a big transmission highway called the vagal nerve, and gut and heart experts will say that the transmission goes from here to here, and the brain experts will say it goes from here to here. They're both right because this transmission highway is going all the time. So the body is telling the brain what the body is feeling through the gut and the heart, and the brain's processing this and talking back and going, well, what should you be doing, body? What are you going to do about it? Maybe you should exercise some more. Maybe you should go and eat some decent food instead of that stuff that's too high in sugar or fat or something like that. So this is a thing called emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, that's all it is. It's the connection between the thoughts and the feelings, and the feelings are our emotional health. That's a new kid on the block. Watch out for that one. With social distancing, and of course we got that wrong, it's not social distancing at all. It is in fact physical distancing. All right, so in our haste to get the information out there, we go, oh, social distancing. It's not social distancing, it's physical distancing. Now, with the physical distance, if we're working from home, physically apart from the other people in the office, it can lead to social distress. There's no doubt about that. So the next one I want to talk to you about is our social health. Now, our social health is our connection to others. So we need to have 3 to 5 people that we can pick up the phone or get on a Zoom call and have a chat to just say, oh, you know, can I catch up with you for a little while because I want to chat to you about my situation. I'm having some struggles with it at the moment. Maybe you've got time just for a couple of minutes just to have a little chat to me. Every person, not some, every person that I've ever dealt with depression has always said I had no one to talk to. So our social health is absolutely connected to our mental health. But your social health is your social network of 3 to 5 people that you can call on at any time. The risk of not having that network is isolation or loneliness, which can then lead to depression. All right, it can lead to depression. So it's this loneliness or isolation. And guess what we're doing at the moment? We've become isolated. We've been told, stay at home, don't go out into the world. That's changing. It is as of today when I'm making this video. I have no idea what's going to happen in the next week or month or year, whenever you should choose to view this video. But as of now, it's changing for the better, and everyone's going, fantastic, we can get out of isolation. So that's how important your social health is. So that's the fourth one. So you've got physical, mental, emotional, social health. The next one's an interesting one, and this is our spiritual health. Now, when I talk to people about spiritual health, I like to use the analogy of a laptop computer. Imagine that your body is a laptop computer, and you have your computer and it just sits there. It doesn't do much. It just sits there, just like your body and mind does. Then you open up your laptop and you turn it on, you start pressing some buttons and some lights start to happen. That's fine, that's good. Some things are happening, and then all of a sudden you plug it into the internet. As soon as you plug it into the internet, you've tapped into this higher intelligence called Google. And all of a sudden you have all of this information, all of this wisdom, all of this intellect right at your fingertips. That's what your spiritual health is all about. It's having the belief or understanding that we can connect, or have a belief in a higher intelligence, whatever that is. People who follow religion often follow a god or a deity, something like that. A lot of people invoke a spiritual practice called meditation, right? They sit there and they meditate, and that is connection to the universe, whatever it is. I like to just go for a walk in nature. I see nature as very spiritual, so a walk in nature enhances my spiritual health. At some stage, you seem to get into a flow, and everything just starts to happen and working with effortless ease. And I think that's when we're in a spiritual state. What the people that I've worked with who are spiritually healthy have this connection or this belief and work at a much higher level. They just seem to get a whole lot of stuff done in a great state of peace. One of the dangers of not having this is hopelessness, or no future, or no purpose. And when you get to that hopeless stage, it's a really, really bad feeling that you sort of have a sense that, well, it doesn't matter what I do, nothing's going to work, so why even bother? All right, so our spiritual health, I was on the stage speaking with a speaker back in Malaysia. It was a fair few years ago now, but I'll never forget, they got up there and they said there were 7 billion definitions of spirituality. Pick one that suits you. And then when you do, you need to understand what that means and do things that fulfill you at a spiritual level. The word spirit means to breathe, by the way. So we inspire, we're in spirit, we expire, we're out of spirit. When we are born, we breathe in, we take our first breath, and when we die, we take our last breath and the spirit leaves the body. So that's the essence of the word spirit and where it comes from. That's why meditation and laughing, by the way, I'll put in a plug for my workshop, the laughter workshops there, are a spiritual activity because it focuses very much on the breath. So got our physical, mental, emotional, social, spiritual. The next one is self-health. Now, self-health is self-esteem, ego. A word I heard recently is self-compassion. I love that word, self-compassion. And this is all about your sense of self. Are you okay with yourself? Are you your own best friend? So from a spiritual point of view, we have a connection to a higher intelligence. At a social point of view, we have a connection to 3 to 5 very, very close people who can support us. Our self-health is how we, within ourselves, are we good with who we are? And it's interesting, this self-health is often determined by the little voice inside your head. And there's a little voice on your shoulder here going, you're doing well. You haven't said too many ums and ahs in this presentation, so that's a good thing. You seem to be rather engaged. You're still very active. You're pretty focused. You're moving along okay. That's great. And then this other little voice over here is being critical of you and going, really? Is that really what it is? Why are you even bothering to do this? Why don't you go and do something more fulfilling? So this is your inner voice talking to you. And the idea is to get your inner voice saying good things about you. That's self-health from an esteem or compassion point of view. If we don't have that, we have a situation that can creep in where it's critical and saying that we're not worthy in some way. So at an extreme level, that's actually what happens with that critical voice. So especially working from home, make sure that you keep on congratulating yourself and keeping that self-health high. I read a book once, I think it was called The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem, and it said the higher you think of yourself, the less you care about what others think. I think that's a really profound statement. The more I think of myself as being worthy, the less I'm really concerned about what I believe others think. And the interesting thing about that is we don't actually know what other people think of us. We actually make it up in our own head. Physical, mental, emotional, social, self-health, spiritual health. There must be one more, and here it comes. It is our sexual health. So all I've gone through is the 7 energy centers of the body. Now, our sexual health is really, really interesting. It's one of the energy centers of our body. And it's all about, are you okay with your sexuality, wherever you are as a sexual being in our teen years. We enter our sexuality in the 50 to 60 year age bracket. We diminish from that point of view in regards to estrogen and testosterone levels and all that sort of thing. And one of the interesting reasons that I mentioned that in that 50 to 60 year age group about our sexual health is that's when 2 cancers can occur, and they're prostate and ovarian cancers in that age group. I think there's an interesting coincidence that they happen to occur while our bodies are actually going through these rather dramatic sexual changes. Love and intimacy. Are you okay being hugged and touched and loved and giving love and intimacy? We have a situation now very prominent with the LGBTQI movement situation or circumstance where there's a whole lot of sexual tendencies that people actually are exploring and experiencing, I should say, not exploring, but experiencing in questioning their sexuality. So it's a really interesting time at a personal level in regards to our sexual health. So it's more than just an intimate physical act. It is a whole of, are you good in your own skin? So there's the 7 areas of personal holistic health, what we call holistic health, because we can and should, if there's an imbalance, work on any of those areas. The interesting thing that we've done at HSG is we can measure all of these. We can put a number to all of these. So in our workshops, we get the people to understand that there is 7 of these areas, the complexity, the network, the spider web that is our holistic health. And we can start to identify, once again, through a survey. We have a survey that we can provide you with to ask the question so you can clearly determine where you are and, most importantly, determine where you need to be so that you can maintain a healthy and wealthy, from a health point of view, life. Hope this has been a little bit of a teaser for you. If you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact myself. My name is Merv Neal, or Michael, the boss, or any of the folks at Holistic Service Group. They'd be only too happy to help you with exploring maybe a workshop on personal holistic health. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.